Okay, so I just got back from the Amazing Digital Circus, the last act in the movie theaters, and I just kind of wanted to make a video talking about it. It's not going to be scripted, but I have some feelings on this episode. Um, I don't know where to start, so please bear with me. But from overall, I really enjoyed the movie. For the past hour since I got back, I've been looking at what other people think of it, and what am I thinking? What am I thinking? I, I feel like I just respectfully disagree that the ending. I think there are definitely moments in the ending that are like, this is going to be a shit show. All right, there are moments in the ending, like, again, spoilers, Kane coming back that I don't care for. I kind of wish Kane stayed gone. They don't really explain that, and it was like, oh, Kane's dead. Kane's dead. Kane literally says, "I killed Kane." I don't think there was enough context clues or build up for him just showing up again, and it didn't really feel that satisfying when he did show up. So when one of the most common criticisms I've been seeing is the movie feels rushed. I think there are scenes that you don't really have the build up for them, and I even need to rewatch the show to get an idea of what's going to happen, or like to refresh my brain on it. But scenes like when Ragatha and Pomni are doing the hug towards the beginning of the episode, and Pomni's saying to Ragatha, "Oh, you were my best friend. I was really close to you since the circus started." I've rewatched The Amazing Digital Circus like 28 times. Like, it was a lot of times. I really don't feel like they have that kind of relationship to have that kind of payoff, or like, I think it was sweet, yeah, but I don't think it was there. I think they were friends. I think they were, I'd even go to say they were good friends. Best friends, I don't know. And especially because Pawnee was only there for such a short time. I think Pawnee just kind of got along. I feel like if you evaluate Pawnee's relationship with everyone, aside from maybe Gangle and Zoogle, I think she's just, I couldn't really say, oh, she's best friends with King or she's best friends with Jax. She interacts with Kinger a lot more than Ragatha does. I'll say that, which I think takes away from the scene a little. What else? What else? Um, as for the scene where Jax abstracts, I've seen people also just saying online, like if you Google, and it's a fair criticism to have that Jax's abstraction, he just walks off and shit. I don't really mind that. I think that's how something like abstraction happens. And some people are also saying, well, it's also out of character for Pomni to just not reach out to Jax when Jax comes up to her, and the scene where they're all just kind of chilling. I think Pomni in that situation knows, like, if Jax just isn't going to talk, she can't make him talk. That's not how it works, and especially since abstraction is basically the metaphor for suicide. I feel like it's. I know it's like, oh my god, hyper. I feel like it is a realistic take. You you can't make someone that is in that state of mind, no matter how much you want to, like, talk and come forward. It's a very hard thing, and I've dealt with it too. To some degree, people can only do so much, and I wish that was the, like, I feel like, I mean, then again, I haven't been on the fucking TADC Reddit or the Tumblr or whatever in a while, so maybe that is also just a more nuanced take that I haven't seen, and it's only my, like, confirmation bias. Like, I think that part is actually decently written. I think the scene where Palmy is inside Jax's head. I feel like people are being too critical of Jax. I feel like it paints him in the scene as having done both bad and good. You see the good sides of his relationship with Ribbit, and then you see what happens after, and it with him pushing her away, and that leading to Ribbit's extraction abstraction. I I think that was written well. Uh, I think the what I believe is the cast members, Zubul, Gangle, everyone else, they, to the most part, to the extent of their ability, they have tried to help Jax out. And every time Jax pushed Ragatha away, Jax pushed Pomni away, and even Zubul tried reaching out to Jax, and he didn't go to them. So in the characters' minds, like speaking like, oh, Jax, in the characters' mind, what the characters are thinking is that Jax is like this. If he's not coming around, he won't come around, and that kind of leads to a plot point of, yeah, they regret not having done more, but in the moment that they were in, I really don't believe, and this is what I think is going on in their character sets. They just know Jax won't talk, and even if Pomni reached out to Jax, it was like, "Hey, can we talk?" Jax would probably just honestly say, "Never mind" again. That's probably how it would work, and it's how it has worked throughout the whole series. It's how it worked in episode 6. It's how it worked in even with a scene with Ribbit where she goes up to Jax, like, "Can we please talk?" Jax is not having it. So I think it's not the. I can see how people think it. I just think it's not the worst written part of the movie. It, as for the final opening up more questions than answers, I think it's always going to be like that. Like it's not going to have this Breaking Bad style ending where Jax kills Kane and takes control. I think no matter what with a show like this, there's always going to be a what if, and I believe that the series gets its point across well without having all the questions answered. I think even in like real life, you're not going to know everything. You're not going to know, well, what if Jax was stopped? What about CNA? What if someone? I saw a YouTube comment that was like, "What if Zach Hadel was the fish tripped over the wire and unplugged them all?" And Jax even kind of talks about that in episode 8. Well, what if this? What if that? I think it's just going to always be like that. And I rewatched a video by M Lemon today called before I watched the movie called "To End the Show." It I it doesn't end like The Sopranos. It definitely doesn't end like The Sopranos. I will criticize the ending as feeling I wish I didn't get closure into what the characters' lives were doing because it makes me wonder like it makes it confusing and it makes it feel less impactful when Jax abstracts. Jax just straight up fucking dies. And I feel like having Jax live in the real world kind of dampens why should I care if Jax is alive? What Jax's real body's alive, and well, I might not have as much experience with theories or Soma theory. Just doesn't feel as impactful as it should be. As for what else do I think? I kind of wanted to talk about like trans Jax theory. I need to clarify that, but it's important to have context that I am trans, and when going into the movie, I didn't think I didn't even believe the trans Jax theory, and like, oh god, I say like took so much. If you're bearing with this, I really appreciate you. I feel like Jax. after watching episode 9, I can really like I really believe in that theory. If you look at how he pushes Ribbit away when he puts the bow on him and just like pushes her away, and even at the end at the bus stop scene, the way Jax looks like a trans woman that's like 3 months on HRT. He has the hoodie. I don't know if I should even use he him pronouns at this point. And I know this. I'm hoping not to sound like transvestigating, but I've studied like queer coding in college courses. I think Jax is, at the very least, definitely queer coded, and I'd even go on to say he's queer coded to be trans in such a way. Originally, when this theory started circulating, I thought of like the maid outfit and the evidence of his room being like kind of more feminine. Really, it felt circumstantial, but when I look at the movie in episode 9 as a whole, it 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 feels a lot more like clear and on the nose. It's like textbook queer coding. Like Goose doesn't explicitly say, "Oh, Jax is trans," but you can kind of infer if you've been in that scenario or been through a transition. And again, there's probably not going to be another TADC episode. Maybe there'll be a short, and even then it won't answer it. But again, you just don't have all these answers, and I think it works as a writing choice. It's would anything change about our enjoyment of the show if we had all the answers? Does the finale feel like the like Jack show? Yeah, it definitely does. I guess going back to the ending, it does. It doesn't have it definitely feels bittersweet considering well it's been like 3 years and I see other people saying oh it's like a chapter of my life is gone. It literally does feel like that because now I'm just waiting for Knights of Guinevere, the Gaslight District, or maybe Gameverse. I really don't. Then again, I watched Gameverse under very different circumstances than what I watched Knights of Guinevere and Gaslight District under. So I think I just rewatched a pilot. I think when it become the I think when episode 9 becomes public or is uploaded onto YouTube, when we can just rewatch it without having to pay like $20, $13, I don't know, depending on the theater. I feel like there will be a more greater shift in the community opinion as to this episode. I really don't mind how the community opinion is. I definitely think there are parts that definitely could have used some work. And as I said, Kane coming back, I'm still on that. I don't know why. Oh, yeah, no, I remember. I the the scene where Kane goes into the cafe and scratches there. Yeah, no, that part was really rushed, and I didn't even understand that. I guess it will also be really interesting to rewatch the series and try and see clues for the names if there are any because someone guessed the name for Ragatha and it's not on top of my head right now. I wonder if that person was right, and I can't wait to rewatch this episode. Oh yeah, I remember what I was going to say. There's this one YouTuber, or maybe it's a guy that does all the indie animation YouTube videos. He was talking about how Jax kind of feels like or maybe this was his comment section. I don't fucking know. Like Jax feels like a dog in a way. I don't know. I disagree with this statement because he came through the abstracted members of the cellar. The circus members put him more in like a mausoleum. I think if more focus was shown on how other abstractions were treated more than just, or even how they're shown. It's not a very glamorous depiction. Jax in the Amazing Digital Circus world is dead, and it's just the most comfortable option. There's no turning back. There's it's kind of like real life. You can't turn back from that situation. There's no more options. They can just try and honor his memory and make do with what they have in that scenario. It's not like they're treating him as a dog again. And I'm really sorry that this video is so unscripted. I just decided to fucking record it to document my thoughts the day of. I guess if I had to give my biggest criticisms of the movie, believe it's paced decently. I don't think the pacing is abhorrent, and maybe I'm just biased because I'm also a Murder Drones fan, and we don't talk about Murder Drones pacing in this YouTube channel. It's bad. I feel like it like took with the amount of time it was given, it used it well. There was a lot of crying. I never felt like a part overstayed its welcome for too long, aside from the Kane part and the again the ending where it's like their lives are on display and Palmy's narrating it all. Again, I don't like that. I wish it was just confirmed that they were living lives, but it was never highlighted. The lives of the cast members in the real world, it almost feels like a Lifetime movie-esque ending. Maybe it's just my perspective. Maybe I'm just a nihilist. I think it I think it would have just. I'm back here again, just saying it. Just don't show it. I, I. It's kind of hard to believe, especially in this day and age, with how everyone is living now, that things worked out. Because I think it would be a lot more interesting if we found out that some of it didn't work out. Because that's just life. It again just takes away from the impact. As for my biggest complaints, yeah, Kane coming back, not a big fan of that decision. I've seen like, oh, the recycle box. They didn't even need Kane really. They kind of figured it out on its own, and I kind of wish Kane stayed dead, but I already said that. So yeah, that's my opinions on the film. Oh wait, no. Shit. Damn, I'm really bad at this. Kane coming back would not do again. They were getting on fine creating structures without fucking Kane as it is. I think it would have been a lot more interesting for the circus members to just have to rationalize a life without Kane and work on it themselves. Second biggest complaint. What's my second biggest complaint? I think it was an amazing ending to an amazing film. I don't have many complaints. Maybe I'm maybe I'm just easy to please. I think it was a great film. I think it was a wonderful way to end the series. It might not have all the answers, but as I've stated before, that's kind of just how things are. And it has a happy enough ending. It it has a happy enough ending to the point where I'd even criticize the ending for being a bit too happy, but especially with how like isolated everyone has become with social media and technology these days. It's maybe if I watched this 20 years ago, it would like string me a lot more nicely or like scratch it a lot more. I'm just going to end this part. I think the film's quality, and I apologize, I don't really have much more to say. I think the film will gain more appreciation over time. That's my random theory that I have no scientific evidence of. I I coming into it, I did expect like an end of Evangelion type situation. I kind of wish it was like more end of Evangelion-y, but maybe I'm just you can't have everything you want. And maybe Gooseworks was trying to say something with how she chose to end it. Anyway, if you watched me ramble for like 15 minutes, 20 minutes without a script, I really appreciate it. I just turned on OBS. I just really like the episode, and I will never forget tuning into the episode premiere. I've even recorded it, the like transition into the episode as 5:49 p.m. finally became 6. I can't forget that. I've never enjoyed a series so much, and I'm not just glazing when I say that. It it really does feel like something special that caught lightning in a bottle. So anyway, that's it. Thank you for watching. If you have watched. Goodbye.